that it really is this fandom. We just go for it, why not?
I saw also some stuff with zombies, which is a lot of fun because then they have detachable body parts, and that can lead to some fun with writing. So there's that.
I think the fundamental is I just want to make love to cheese by Draco the Lizard. That is the Jim Gaxton Steve pick. So shout out to Draco, I guess. Boys and Adams.
Hello, my kinky friends. This is Our Flag Means Fan Fiction. This is a show where we joyfully and unabashedly celebrate kink in all its wonderful shapes and forms. Today, we are jumping into our favorite time of the year when pod writers and artists around the globe rolled up the stockings, strap in or on, and get absolutely filthy and smutty. It is the Kinktober episode. Woohoo! Okay, on the pod this week with me is Gutis, who is the tech-savvy one. Say hello, Gutis.
Hello.
We have Sane, who is the tired writer one.
Hiya.
She's also the informed one. She's got all the information, does the research, so I don't have to do anything because I am also Belle, the lazy one. I'm also the kinky, horny, and witchy one. Like with pronouns, I claim all the adjectives as well. Let's kick things off with our first question, as we always do. Let's do it. What is the most gay pirate thing that's happened to you?
I think maybe the fact that I found out last week that one of my favorite artists lives relatively close to a place that I've lived in for 3 months, and it was very odd to see an address that I actually recognized. Oh, you live there? Oh, we could have met way before Flag, but still, the idea is like, oh my god, people actually live there, and also there are fans there too, which is great.
My gay pirate story, I guess, is that I got myself the Hybrid Signal zine the other day, which if anyone hasn't got that yet, you should go and get your donation in and get the zine. He decided, since it's kind of hard to read it on the computer, that I would figure out how to do the bookbinding stuff properly, and so I've got it all printed out now.
Now you can access your monster fucking everywhere you want instead of having to need your computer. Very cool, by the way.
So I went to London recently, spent a couple of days in Paris whilst I was there. And this is the longest time, even though I've gone to the UK a few times, it's the longest time I've spent in actual London. Usually I land in London and I take off for like the north. I love the north of England. Usually kind of stalking places. You were talking about the artist, stalking places that Cod O'Neill has walked. I'm like, I'm in Manchester where, he recorded this. Yeah, just kind of going crazy. But the last day that we were there, we started seeing all these people crossing the bridges as we were doing kind of a tour of the Thames. And lots of UK flags. And I started seeing some of the royalist flags. And I went, oh, those are never good news. No good group shows up with those flags en masse. And so I started looking, going, well, what's planned for today? So it was, in fact, kind of I'm going to go ahead and say, well, a bunch of racist people going, immigrants are ruining this country, and let's get together and talk about how terrible everything is and how we should be back to the good old England. So I saw people with mega hats, make England great again. That was lovely. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's me. So as we're done with the tour, I'm crossing one of the bridges to get to the theater we were going, and it's me. So I am covered. I always look like a rainbow threw up on me. So I've got like a rainbow belt. I've got like rainbow laces. I've got rainbow, I'm always like covered up and in brown. So it's like everything these people are against. And I'm just walking through this crowd against the current. They're all going this way and I'm going this way. And I'm doing one of those things where I'm taking up a lot of space because I just want to be obnoxious. I'm like, go through me. And my partner the whole time is like, they're going to get us arrested. They're going to get into a fight. Thankfully, all those people are big cowards. So when they see somebody who's like, come at me, bro, they're like, no, thank you. We're just going to go in a corner now. So everybody, there was a river of racists like partying around me as I walked across Westminster Bridge. And
mostly the Red Seas.
Exactly. And as we got to there, he was like, oh, thank goodness. Our partner was so happy that we hadn't gotten into any fights or anything like that. So that's my gay pirate story.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I was ready. I was like, let's go.
That's pretty gay pirate. So good.
Okay, well, let's get to our beautiful topic for today. We still need to do other kink episodes because we've done 2, and the kink well is so deep. We could just keep going on and on and on. But today we're here to talk about celebrate Kinktober. So I'm gonna pass it over to Sanne, who's got the good info as always as to when it started, what it is, etc. So take it from here, Sanne.
Kinktober itself is described as a multi-fandom prompt-based challenge, which we've seen so far, right? You see the lists with various prompts, and some of these lists will be for specific fandoms, but it started out as something open to anyone, any fandom, anything, basically. Well, it encourages the creation of erotic fan works in any shape or form. So fiction, art, anything you want to do. It was started in 2016, so we're almost coming up on 10 years of it, but it still feels very recent. What year is I thought 2016? I was like, that was like a few years ago.
Yeah, that was like a couple of years. Now that's, as you get older, that's what starts happening. You're like, 2002, that was like 2 years ago, right? Everything's years ago. Yeah, you realize it's been a decade.
It was founded by a Sparks reactor, in case anyone would like to know. And it started out as something that wasn't several prompts, but by 2018, it was 3 prompts per day. So 120 prompts to choose from. So most versions of iterations of Kinktober will still follow that. They will have 3 different prompts per day that you can pick and choose from, or you can combine them. The difference between some of the fandom ones and the general Kinktober one, which is, I'm not sure if it's currently being run actually, because the original creator moved to Twitter and then got banned, and that was a whole thing. But the difference is that Kinktober will be open to anyone, and usually fandom versions of it will be open only to that fandom, or are encouraged to only be used by the fandom. And Flag has, of course, also taken it and run with it, because that's who we are as a fandom. We take all the challenges and we run them all at the same time. For Supernatural, they didn't do a specific kink list. And I feel like it's been done more and more often now that we don't have the original Kinktober creator coming up with a list anymore.
That's something really cool about Kinktober specifically, I think, is that it's like very low on rules in general. Well, the properly run ones are.
You run your Kinktober properly, you will not have rules, or you will have some rules, especially fandom ones. Generally, they will have a rule about including only specific, that fandom, and not going. So our Flag ones will be Flag based. They've asked not to include other fandoms in the collection, at least, or not to tag them, because that's not the spirit of that specific challenge. It's a boundary of the challenge, so to speak. And then you have people who go slightly beyond those borders in terms of rules, and that's a great example of how not to run it. I think a lot of people have seen it. It's the Kate Vi Kinktober that came up this year. For people who don't know, Kate Vi is a ship from Arcane, the TV series show. As Caitlyn and Vi, 2 of the main characters, they're a canon couple. Sorry, spoilers, I guess. They're technically a canon couple now. Someone decided I personally don't understand why it's so popular, because it was like, I was dreading ship and I saw it coming from a mile away and I went, please don't. So, but to each their own. This is just not my thing, but they set up a Kinktober that started with no rules, and then suddenly there were several rules, and then there were more rules, and even more rules, and even more, and it was just, it has a very nice video set to In the Hall of the Mountain King, and for people who've been on Tumblr for a long time, they will know what that means. It means it was a train wreck from beginning to end, because the spirit of Kinktober is, of course, that you get to experiment with the kinks as well. It's sort of figuring out what might work, what doesn't work, and just feeling, what might the characters do. But no, they had rules, like no non-consensual content in any form, including, and then if you wrote consensual non-consent, you would have additional requirements, like it could only be an established relationship, and there had to be a discussion of the boundaries and the safe words prior to sex. There had to be a check-in mid-scene to confirm that consent was still enthusiastic, and also you had to include an aftercare scene. Well, if that's how you like your consensual non-consent, I've got bad news for what most people like to read if they read C&C, because that's not it.
Yeah.
The whole thing is that you feel like it is non-consent, but, the tag says it is actually consent. That's the fun thing. That people have at some point probably talked about it, and maybe there is a check-in if it doesn't quite go right, but you're not expecting it. And setting rules like that, oh my.
Yeah, it almost sounds like they were like confusing real life with fan fiction. They were like, here are the rules in real life, so let's apply those to your writing, which is not quite the way it goes.
It has given me an idea for a fic rec, actually, but I did Duncan Cave last time, so I'm going to remember that.
Ooh, the best thing about the whole Kate Fi thing, in general, a very quick rundown. It got more and more and more rules, one of which was actually no kink shaming, which they were actively doing themselves. But hey, I've been laughing throughout this entire thing while it was developing. It's a great example of how not to do it. Because it's great if you have some base rules, like tell people that you don't want any not even played versions of anything that might be read as pedophilia, for instance. That makes sense. That would be a boundary. And yes, there are some kinks that go over it, but if you don't include it on your list, you will probably not see it. But saying no kink shaming and then basically delineating literally every kink you put on the list, that's not how it works. They ended up no longer running, but they made it into something else. It was rebranded to Not Suitable for Work Month 2025, and it will be taking place in November instead. I didn't check out if it's actually running. I can sort of imagine the mods wanting to run away themselves and going like, oh, we did this very wrong. But yeah, there is another one. There is now a separate Kate Fi Kinktober that just uses the general Kinktober list for the year. So, but how not to do it is basically impose too many rules and kink shame your participants to hell and back.
Yes.
That's a surefire way to not. That's not the spirit of the thing.
Yeah.
Good thing we're in that fan. And we're in a fandom that tackles these things a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and again, just that the mere, even the concept of kink, right? What kink is, it's something that I guess the establishment, the norm, like the norms say it's outside of what you should, quote unquote, like or be into, right? That's the whole concept. So to do that and then go, let's squish it into rules. But of course, our fandom and the other running Kinktober are, amazing, as we've talked about. They are so much fun. So let's talk about the good Kinktober fests are happening this year. So we've got the main one, correct? The main Kinktober fest. Is that yep. So I'm going down the list. So is that the Tumblr edition?
As the Tumblr edition, I think, sort of jumped into the void that was left behind by the original creator. And they were also, I think, one of the first this year to come out with a list. They were out pretty quickly. Their list was out on June 22nd. So they were very early, which is great if you're doing the stupid thing that I am, which is writing every day. So I can plan ahead, which is part of the reason that I picked this one as my main list this year. But they basically set up a page specifically for this year as well. So it's Kinktober 2025. And, they really just did say, as there wasn't an official Kinktober prompt list last year, we've put together an unofficial one for 2025. They were like, well, we'll do the central one this year, I guess, and went for it. And because they were so early, I think a lot of fandoms have adopted that list as their running list for this year. And then there are bonus ones as well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also using that list. Like you say, I wanted to write some that weren't RFMD, random, short poppies and stuff. But so I needed something that was not the RFMD one, and their prompts weren't out yet either. So I didn't have something to work off. So I thought I'll just go find another one, and that's the one I went for because it's not, they were all there sitting there, and a very flexible one. They had a few bonus ones, like you say, that you can just swap in, which I've done. I've gotten a few of them. So yeah, so it's good.
And they were incredibly broad as well. So it's very fun to see which prompt they've picked for the year, basically. I started with this one as well, and I started out with the idea that I was going to use every single one of them. Not. I dropped quite a lot of them. Ended up not quite working. And since I'm not yet writing for Flag this year, I'm only doing RPF this year so far. I couldn't use the Flag one either. So it's very fun to play around, just see what comes out for a day.
Yeah. So, and I'm looking at the Kinktober 2025. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I was especially I like the fact that sensory deprivation was on it. I don't know if I've seen it before on prompt list. Probably I have, and then I skipped it. And there are also some, relatively standard ones that we see more and more, but it's fun. Crawling. I had a lot of fun with crawling, to be honest. Can't wait until the 22nd I can hit post on that one. It's great. It's a very good list all around. And I really like the bonus prompts as well. The fact that they give you the option to sort of swap out things or add more prompts if you want to. That's a great thing, because sometimes you'll find things on the list that just aren't your thing at all, or maybe squeak you out, or actively trigger you. It's great if you can just go like, I don't want to do, I don't know, let's say an anal hook, but I do want to hit all the prompts for that day, so I'll swap it out for wall sex. I don't know. Just
Well, like I've literally done that with the one that I was working on today with day one. Not that particular. Day one had incest lines that one, so I swapped it out for use. So
it gives you slightly more options. I like that. It feels like progress as well. It's just sort of an acknowledgement that not everything is for everyone, but also an option to swap it out if it doesn't feel correct or right or whatever to you.
I really hope that some more flag people are doing this because I'm loving these prompts. And in fan fiction, whenever I see the Kinktober tag, I just get so excited. I'm like, this is gonna be good. And the people that put together like huge, I cannot fathom the kind of work that it takes to put these amazing narratives where it's all a one story going through Kinktober, and it's incredible. Like the amount of planning and writing that I must take, like I can't even fathom, but I enjoy it so very much as a reader.
It's gonna be even as a writer, I enjoy it when people do that because I can't. Like last year, I tried to do that with the flag ones. Or at least I had to find a reason to have all of these people together in the same location. So I was like, what if we have, the whole we're all at the inn, the inn at the sea, and it's, I don't know, some kind of opening weekend or celebration. I think I put it as Pete and Lucius's wedding, the second try, with a sort of note like, this time we won't be interrupted by Ned Lowe. Guess who makes an appearance anyway? Because I asked for random pairings from people and people put in Ned Lowe, so he was there anyway, but in a good way, But the only thing I did there was basically make sure that all of the characters could be at the same spot at the same time, and there was no real through line. I couldn't have done that. Honestly, that would require so much prep that you can't use most of these lists, or if you do, it would be more adjacent to Born Without Plot, PWP. Would be closer to that, maybe?
There is no quote-unquote ramp up. There is not like, we're going to start with the most, again, in quotes, vanilla ones, and then like kind of get, because again, that's on the eye of the beholder. Something that somebody is like, oh, this is kind of, fun, but like I wouldn't even call it kink, to, okay, this is actually kinky. That depends on you. I think the one that I saw that was really, I was very impressed, and of course I'm never going to remember, and I have to go back through my bookmarks and kink and come through them, was a modern AU and Ed and Steed work together. And I believe what happens is that, if I remember correctly, Ed finds like a list of things that Steed wants to try. And he goes, well, I'll help you. And so that's kind of the plot. And it does have plot behind it. And so then it becomes like, okay, they're going through and working on all those things. So that was a really good way of doing it.
It feels like a massive effort and something that I'm honestly always so impressed when people manage to do that.
Yeah. It's
because you'll have to plot it very quickly, even if it's just, even if your fills are basically just whichever pairing just playing through the list because they found the list or whatever, it doesn't have to have plot, but even if you manage to do that and connect them all together, like, congrats, well done. Holy shit, I would not be able to.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Duck Prince Kinktober.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So Duck Prince Press always, or has been doing a Kinktober version. Not technically Kinktober because they didn't want to use the Kinktober number, but they're giving prompts to spice up your writing. They are a publisher, not quite a traditional publisher. They publish mostly fan creators who want to move into original stuff. Not necessarily serial numbers filed off, but actually, their original work that they want to publish. And so there's a lot of erotica writers in. And in general, they already have a lot of kinks, or they've written a lot of kinks. They've participated in Kinktober before. They'll have some knowledge about a lot of kinks. So these are crowdsourced as well. I think the flag ones this year were as well. These are crowdsourced in the sense that the person who runs the press, their name is Claire, not Claire Gregory, by the way, but another Claire. They collect everything. And then they just sort of randomly generate the list, and that's it. And then they double check if there's if you've got bondage and shibori together, for instance, sort of swap some things out. Yeah. But in general, it's mostly randomly generated, which leads to things I'm like, I had to look them up again. Like dendrophilia. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But I had looked it up and I forgot again. I actually added some to my So I used both lists, but I started with the Kinktober 2025 one because, planned ahead. And then I just drew this one out when I already planned out most of my fills. And I just went like, okay, which ones can I add to it? Can I make it weirder? Can I make it funnier? I made one incredibly funny because I have aliens. And if I see aliens, I go like, okay, what can I do with this? And
all these are really cool. Like higher being toys of the hearing. What a great prompt.
Yes. Well, it sort of says something about the writers as well, that they suggest things like these, right? This is a completely different list to the one of Kinktober 2025, but some overlap because intriguingly, this one also has the sensory deprivation one and it has them on exactly the same day. So there's some accidental overlap in the same day even, but you'll always have that. There's like a limited amount of kinks that you want to include on these lists anyway, I think. So, yeah. But this is a very fun list to just look through and go like, oh, we've got...
Yeah, so we talked about, you've got dendrophilia, which is fantastic. By the way, that's a tree love, if you will.
Oh, there you go.
You have wing kink, which is cool. I like wings.
You'd tell that a lot of these people are from the supernatural fandom originally.
Where was it? Death sex?
On a slide. There we go.
Death sex, I thought was interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I really like that these, like you say, it's Kinktober, not Kinktober. And I guess it's kind of like not really like your traditional stuff. It's more like, let's take some interesting like stuff out of fiction, like tropes and stuff that are a bit more unusual. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily, I mean, it is Kinktober. All of these are technically kinks, but like we discussed before, it's very hard to describe or to define what a kink actually is. So we'll always have a bit of a discussion there. What counts, what doesn't count. I think anything actually counts, but some people will think something is a kink and others don't. All of these are technically a kink.
Yes. There's a lot more fantastic stuff in there mixed in, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And some of these are very much like, what if you write something with fairies in it? Like literal fairies, not sad.
It's everything enough loud
in here. What if you want to write about the whole thing that's currently going on Tumblr with the crow that eats all the plastic stuff or something? It's genuinely a book someone wrote, which is currently selling very well due to Tumblr. But what if you want to do something with that? Well, maybe they will do something with, it fits in the world. It fits whatever you want to do, and it will challenge you to think about your characters in a different way as well. It's great, to be honest.
Yeah. The amount of, I love that it sparks imagination because I've seen some incredibly creative things from fandoms. The one that's an intimate object gains sentience, I read inanimate object, which is pretty close anyway, but it reminded me.
I will say,
go ahead.
We had exactly that. So I am part of Duck Prince Press, and we had exactly that conversation because several people misread it as inanimate objects. Yeah, it's really meant to be intimate object. So it really is. It's not a typo. If you misinterpret it, it will still be okay.
It works.
Because
it works. Yeah. But that one reminded me of one of the most incredible fics I've ever read, which is it's a con in his character as Midsummer Murders. I believe it's, now I'm going to forget his name, and everybody in the canon is going to come at me. But the cheese lover, Jim, and a sentient cheese, that's Steed, a sentient cheese. I read that and I just couldn't. I was like, whose fever dream is this? And I love it. I love it so much.
I think that's Draco's fic, or it's maybe Dim Sum Kitty. I don't know, but I mean, that one. It really is this fandom. We just go for it. Why not?
I saw also some stuff with zombies, which is a lot of fun because then they have detachable body parts, and that can lead to some fun with writing. So there's that.
I think the comment bell is I just want to make love to cheese by Draco the Lizard. That is the Jim Caxton Steed fic.
Yes.
So shout out to Draco, I guess. Once again.
Draco, you're a rock star. I said, I didn't even know. Yeah. I didn't even know what to say when I read that. It was fantastic. And to render me speechless is something, let me tell you. It was incredible. Just, I mean, again, to sound exactly like the show, the amount of talent in this fandom, and the creativity, and I think the fact that it says something that people feel I almost want to use the word safe enough to be like, yeah, let me put it out there. So when I have friends who write and they're like, I've never want to put it out there. Like, have you seen what's out there? Everybody loves, like, that's what we're here for, to love on all those people who have made the effort to put pen to paper and made something. Especially for people like me, I'm useless. I have like 67 words in progress and I've never finished anything. I have such respect and it's so much love for people. I don't care if you think your fics bad. I don't care if you think it's whatever. Just, we love it. We want you to put out we want you to be creative. We want you to just let your imagination run and let us
People will read it. Like, especially if you do one with the FMD Kinktober list and you put it in that collection on AO3, people will read it for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was like the first stuff pretty much was last year's Kinktober, and like hundreds of people read them, and I was quite surprised because that was like my first attempt at putting anything and then had all these people reading it. So they will.
Yeah, collection reading is a big thing. I am always daunted by going into the tags. I will usually go through a collection instead because that feels like more durable instead of getting 3,000 returns. Instead, you get like a nice, neat, doable list of fics, like up to 50 or so. Kinktober will be slightly different because there's going to be a lot of it in there. But you can filter in a collection anyway, so that works too. But it's a great way to find new things to read and write.
Which really reminds me, we need to get that How to AO3 episode in the box for those of us that... Because when I first started, I literally was like, I just grabbed all of OFMD, filtered it by explicit, and started reading from the back. And I was like, sure. And it's like thousands of fics. I could never get through that. Never in a million years. So then I started, actually, when I discovered this podcast, I was like, recommendations. Here we go. Now I can start zeroing in. And of course, usually those lead to something else. Like, I really love this artist. Or, look, this is part of a collection of 27 fictions. And I'm like, okay, 27 fictions it is. Add to my mark to be read list. So even with that, I have...
Yeah. You read one and then you're like, hang on a second, this is a series of 12?
Exactly.
Yep. Or you see that it's like you've read 2 or 3 things from the same author. You're like, I have a whole back catalogue of things to read and I can also subscribe. So now I can get all the new stuff in one go. Yeah, we really maybe need to do an episode about this.
Yeah.
And be real.
And all of us are, but our really good writers that I enjoy a lot are also prolific as heck. So you go like Steve Bonnet and you pull out 1,000 things. You go Can's Phantom, you pull out 1,000 things. It's like, okay, I will never run out of things to read until the day that I die. I'll just be here forever. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think the amount of works and words that the fandom has collectively put out will get you reading as long as, the people who have physically every book in their house are like, you're never going to be able to read it. It's like, yeah, well, I can definitely die doing what I love.
Exactly. And which is, by the way, coming into this fandom has completely derailed my actual book reading list. Because, I did manage to listen to Voyage of the Dam because Nathan read it. And then that was awesome. And back to all my fan fiction and plot fics. So I am beginning
to say Burnout is great. Oh, yeah. Burnout is great for reading physical books again because staring at my screen for too long hurts my head. So I will be reading physical books. But I have to say that the Voyage of the Damned is one of the books that I know for sure if Nathan hadn't read it out, I wouldn't have finished it. And Nathan is the only reason I go through it because Nathan is just as fucking annoying, as the main character is. If you listen to him, he just embodies the main character so well.
He's just
really
such a good It's such a
absolutely.
I think you're right. I think if it was anybody else that I don't love to pieces reading that character, I probably would have been like,
oh my god, the main character is so, please don't. But Nathan, because you just picture Lucius doing it, you go like, yeah, well, that makes sense. Absolutely his character. He would do it.
Yeah, it's a good one for anyway. And Nathan is so good at it. But back to Kinktober. Now we come to our OFMD Kinktober, our very own, and we're just on Blue Sky. And yes, the prompts are very, very good. I cannot wait for the sex machine. And I'll say it because obviously you can do modern AUs But since there are things out there like impossible devices where somebody decided to be like, no, we're keeping it on the ship and we're making them invent things. I'm like, this is incredible. Yes, of course they'll invent, electricity or something. How to use, invent electricity. You know what I mean? Like all these things, like well out of context. I love it. I love it so much. And things that balance, it's just great. It's fantastic.
I'm really curious how many fics involving buttons we're going to get for psychic or mindfucking. Because out of all the characters, who are you going to throw in there but buttons? Well, I would also be curious to hear what other characters people think fit that. But my first thought when I saw that one was like, that's buttons. And you're not going to convince me of anything else. Who else has the ability to do that? We don't really have that many people who are open enough to it, I think.
Yeah.
So that was like one that immediately drew me in. Yeah, I love it. There's so many. There are very good kinks this year. I'm actually very proud of the people who run it. I think. Wait, hold on. I just clicked back to see who was running it. It's 10 Human Years. I don't really know them, but them who are running it again and having so many very different prompts as well. It just goes everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen commonflation in a fic or in a list before. So kudos to you, Yipping. I've seen that one, but it's still pretty.
I have to look that up. Actually, I didn't know what that was.
Yipping. Sorry, I too had to look it up. I don't just know that, but yeah.
I think I've seen most of these except for there was one. Which one was it again? Pimple popping is the one that I would like. I have not seen that one before. Basically, any list. It's also not personally something I would want to read, but that's like me. I will just not read it.
Yeah.
But that's my problem to deal with. But it just goes everywhere. I love it. Also very curious if people will be writing some of these as non-sexual kinks. So just as a comfort thing instead of a full-on, it has to be explicit thing.
Yeah, and that is a good point.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out.
So that's a good point to bring up, that kink and sex aren't necessarily tied together. We've talked about this in past episodes. Some of these things do not need to be sexual. And another disclosure, again, just like we don't kink shame, we also don't, I guess, vanilla shame. If it's not for you, if you find having sex with the lights on kinky, if you aren't into sex at all, all of this makes you go, no, thank you. That's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong for you there's nothing you have to change or fix or go to therapy for. It's just what's in you. And if you want
it also doesn't mean that you can't do anything with Kinktober, because Kinktober is not about the sex. Correct. Because some of the kinks on the list can very much be comforting instead. So it can be, I think I talked about this on the previous one as well. If you're tied up for something, was just to calm them down. It's not necessarily something that has to involve sex. It can just be a great way to, soothe that overstimulated brain and just get yourself to calm down.
A lot of impact play
has to involve sex.
Yes, a lot of impact play, pain play. It's not necessarily about sex. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It creates a lot of the same happy chemicals as sex, but it doesn't need to be sexual. So again, whatever you're into or not into, we love you, we support you, we appreciate you. Go forth. Go forth and write Kinktober.
Yeah, exactly. And you shouldn't feel like you need to do all the prompts for a day. That you just need to pick one. Just one guy and just do that. So if it's just one, then that's fine. We'll all want.
Think of it as going to a restaurant and seeing a menu. Just because you go to a restaurant doesn't mean you have to try every single dish in the menu. Pick something.
Imagine having to do that.
Yeah. Well, if you got like a prefix and they're like, this is the things that we're giving you, and you're going to have them and you're going to like them, that would be like that failed one. But yeah, just pick what you want, pick what you like, and have fun, enjoy. Post it. We will read it. We will read it. We will love you for it. Find a Veta if you are worried about things like grammar and things of that nature. And
or if you want a flow check. Want to see if it even works. Sometimes that's more of an issue than spelling and grammar.
That's true.
Well, you've been helping me with that, haven't you? That's exactly what I mean.
And I love them so much. I can't wait until they're out. I wish I could wreck things in advance, because subscribe to do this, I guess.
Well, the time this comes out, I suppose, hopefully at least a couple of them will be posted.
That is lovely. I am very much looking forward to it. Kinktober is one of my favorite tags. It makes me very, very happy. So I can't wait. And I cannot wait for your RPF stuff, Sana. Like I am chomping at the bit. I am so excited. I can't even.
I am very excited to have some of these out at least because I have written some stuff that I'm very excited about. And also the things that I think I somehow made funny, well, I don't think of myself as a funny writer. So I was very proud of myself for some bits. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to share them. And I'm just continuing to sit on them very patiently.
I'm trying. There's some wiggling on, but yeah. Yeah. So let's tell everybody how they can get involved. So we talked about we want everybody to feel safe to do this, to have fun, to read, to write, to podfic, to do art. How can people get involved?
It's very easy. You pick a prompt list. You pick a prompt, you write the thing, you art the thing, you do whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be art or, writing, whatever you want to do. Interpretive dance would also, is also valid. Do your best impression.
Do macrame.
Be proud of what we do in the shadows for once. Do macrame. Do anything. Anything you want to do that counts as a work, you can add. For most of these, so the Kinktober 2025 list is open to any fandom, so you can put in anything you want. There's an Archive of Our Own collection that you can add it to, which I think is just called Kinktober lower score 2025. You can add that on the day itself or afterwards. The same goes for Duck Prince Press. You can just post it on the day or after. You can post it to the Kinktober 2025 collection, which is DPP Kinks Yortober 2025 on Archive of Our Own. We can add lists to the prompt list, links to the prompt list in the episode description maybe. Might help people because this is very hard. Also, you don't have the full prompt list. And for Duck Prince Press is also open to any fandom. Also original work, so you can add anything you want in there as long as it hits one or more of the prompts. And then for the OFMD Kinktober, there's like one thing. You can add it to the Archive of Our Own collection, or you can tag it on Blue Sky, but only please our flag means death stuff in there. And that's their one rule, basically. And tag.
I think they said no underage stuff as well. But I mean,
that one. Yeah, do not include any character under the age of 18 in your creations, which is a valid thing to want, I think. Oh yeah, and also for this one, don't mock any kinks. That's one of their rules, and you're not allowed to share fills early. So if you write something for day 18, don't share it on day 17. It's whenever your day comes around in your time zone. So Gutis for you, that will be slightly earlier than for Belle. You can post your fill for the day, but not before that. You can also post afterwards. So if you're not ready until the 27th for your day 18 fill, you can just still post it. No problem.
Yes, and we will put all these links in the show notes so you can click them and go find your things and have some fun with it. So very much looking forward to that. Please participate. I'm a greedy, greedy person. I want to read all the Kinktober stuff.
Write it for Belle.
Write it for me.
Funniest things you can think of, like why not? Like,
see if you can make me blush like Draco with the cheese. See if you can make it start.
I will just request, Belle, that you leave a comment on things that make you blush.
Yes.
Now we can discuss it in an upcoming episode and just figure out what made you blush, so people also know, like, hi. This is, it's a great compliment.
It is. We'll have a whole episode. A fix that made Belle blush. What will you people think?
Ooh, great. I mean, right. Yes. But also just in general, I think a lot of Kinktober will be a lot of fics coming out. So if you've read something that you enjoy, leave a comment, even if that's just like a melting emoji or whatever, or a heart or whatever. Writers will love you forever. If it hot. So, and even if that's just melting, even if it's like random key smash, you will make their day. And especially because there will be a lot of stuff coming out, both for Kinktober and for Wumptober. I think if you've read something you really enjoy, just let the author know, because they will probably feel like they're drowning in a sea of King or Wump or anything that's coming out in a month. So please leave a comment.
That's also very Starfleet writer. That's a good point across everything. So kudo people, leave a comment. The first podfic I did, I was literally thinking that was going to be a one and off and done, and then somebody commented on it, and I was like, I'm off. So for good or ill, it led me to do more. So like, when it was one comment, these folks,
I got comments. Yeah, I just got a comment on something I wrote, I think 4 years ago, for a fandom that's slightly dead because it's a book fandom that's never really gotten off the ground. And that made my day in the sense that also I still need to read the third in the series. And now I'm like, I'll need to pick it up because I want to start writing for them again. It encourages writers to write more. So if you like a specific kink or a specific setting or a specific pairing or anything about a work, if you point it out to the author, chances are that they might write it again and you'll get more cake, which is, a great thing for everyone, I think.
Yes. Thank and encourage these amazing people, these incredible folks who spend so much of their time and energy giving us things to enjoy and to talk about, because we wouldn't have this podcast if there wasn't fan fiction. We love it so much. So bringing that into our fic racks, and I know that we've got quite a few because, of course, we all have deep bookmark lists and such. So go ahead, Sane. Give us yours.
Yeah, I went back to the Kinktober 2023 list because I figured last year will be coming up again anyway because people will be using it as for Take Two Tuesday, for instance. But 2023 is a little bit further back, so some people might not even have read these yet. I found Arms That Feel Like Home by gentleblahaj, which is a fill for Kinktober 2023, day 27. And the prompt there was watching. It's a lesbians, Ed and Steed fic where Steed buys Ed a grinder and everyone's happy about it. It also features a Steed, which is great. This was such a lovely fic to read as well. I'm always, in general, I will love the softness of gentleblahaj's fics. So it's a general work for all of their work at this point, but I really enjoyed this one as well. I've got If I Could Hold You for a Minute by ShowMeAHero. That combines Womtober and Kinktober, so please mind the tags. There's a tag for guns and gunshot wounds, and it also starts with, it starts, the summary itself already includes the gunshot, so be warned for that. But it's a fic that's angst with a happy ending and steady hands. It's really, really very soft and very loving. I really enjoyed it, but it's also very sexy. It's a great combination across the board, and also a lovely way of how you can combine different prompt months in one go. I think ShowMeAHero that for the entire month that they combined both the Kinktober and the Womtober prompts into one, and it worked very well. So you can actually go through the entire series if you click on the link in the show notes, because it will go to this specific thing. And finally, I got one that wasn't in the Kinktober one, but I was trying to find some very great non-sexual kink, and I only bookmarked 2 things, but I picked this one because I liked it better. It's Nothing But a Bundle of Loving by adhduck. Sorry, there's one D in there, which is a T-rated Ed Steed fic with puppy Steed, and it really is just about the fact that Steed wants to be a puppy, and that gives him comfort, and that's it. It's non-sexual kink. It's great. It's amazing. I really enjoy it. Once again, I'm all about softness, I think.
I love subtlety, my favorite.
It's such a great way to integrate something that people see of as a kink, but don't make it into something explicit and something that features sex, because it doesn't have to. It's just to calm Steed down in this particular one.
I love that. Gutis, I will let you go on and do yours because I will introduce it by saying I stumbled upon this particular series through podcasts or podfics, and so I listened to every single podfic that's been done about this, and then went back and read it. So this is how much I liked it. I had to see it with my own eyes.
So I did actually finally find this one I was looking for, because we were talking about the consensual non-consent before. I wanted to rec one that's Cobalt August and Slutpunk, 2 excellent authors. And they did a series actually called Needs/Wants, which is a lot of consensual non-consent, and it's really good. It's All He Wants by Cobalt August and Slutpunk. So if you like consensual non-consent, then there's a good one for you.
Okay, do you want to talk about Seaglass now? You put it on the notes.
Oh, do I?
That's the one that I just talked about, that I've listened and I'm reading it. So Seaglass, go for it.
Yeah, okay. Well, Seaglass, yeah, because that's one of the early ones I read. And yeah, like you say, there's a really good podfic of that. And yeah, that's just such good. I'm surprised I didn't even bring it up last time, actually, when we were doing Rex, because it's really good. They're there's some 2 different sides of it. So the Gentlebeard series is really they're switches, and it's got really good dom sub dynamics in it, and yeah, I really like that part of it. And then there's some other stuff that's got Izzy in it and whatnot. And
Candyfloss.
Yes,
the Candyfloss part of it, which features Fang and Lucius, Pete and Izzy.
Yeah.
And it works so well because B really, really dives into the way these characters play off each other and how they struggle with different things and have different needs. And also, I think it's a great representation of what a poly relationship can be like, where you don't always go to this, go to everyone with everything, but you have a specific person that you deal with specific things with. It just works so well. I really enjoy the flip one almost more than the Gentleblade one because it's interesting in its own way, in a very different way to what we've already got with Ed and Steed quite often at some point. And I really like Candyfloss. I'm always so glad when it updates because I'm like, what are you going to get into now? And how are they going to get out of it again? Well, with the Gentleblade ones, I feel like it will be okay,
Yeah, that's very true. It's just you get all these interesting dynamics and like people's histories and how that impacts the way that they like deal with different dynamics and stuff and different, yeah. So
it's absolutely also part of the Seaglass part. Seaglass does as well, but in a very different way. And because it's just mostly two people who are bouncing off each other instead of the four who are bouncing off each other, trying to figure out what works for them. I think the Candyfloss one is sometimes more interesting because there's more going on. But that's like, I'm always a rare pair person as well. And I like stepping away from the main pairing, so to speak, in this fandom as well. So many people are doing so many great things with them. And B is one of them. Roberta Seaport or Deepdarkwaters on Arc of Our Own.
Yeah, one of the things I like about
the wreck there.
One of the things I like about the series is that in a lot of fics, whenever, especially if things get kinky, whenever Steed talks about it, the rest of the crew is always like, I don't want to. Whereas here, they're just like, yes. And I love that. I love the acceptance as opposed to the whole gross. That doesn't, I don't like that bit, but I'll say I like it. So I'll move on to my recommendations. So I'm recommending CartoonMayor, by the way, just good. CartoonMayor, you're amazing, incredible. And there's one, it's a Kinktober one, is called Just to Reach You. It's a modern AU, and Steed and Ed live in the same neighborhood buildings. They face each other. They can see each other through their window. And Steed really likes Ed, and Ed all of a sudden begins to, walk around half naked and all kinds of things. And it kind of develops from there. So it's a voyeurism one, and it's really, really fun, really, really good. Another one is the Leather and Lace series by CharlieDC. And it's a long series. There's a lot of stuff to it, and it is a reversal of, because you see a lot of dumb Ed and sub Steed. This one is a dumb Steed sub Ed. Ed's a lawyer. He needs to let go. Steed is actually a professional dumb. So it's really cute, and it touches on a lot of relationship dynamics and things, and it's really wonderful. So that one is a good one to have fun with and enjoy. All right.
Because we're Kinktober 2022, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So series, which is like,
it's an archive.
It's great. It will. Yes. No, absolutely. But it's fun to see, sort of going back, the type of prompter you'll have had at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're interested, dig into the older tech. I don't know if it was a collection in that year, but you can just search for Kinktober 2022. Or I think it's OFMD Kinktober 2022. If you want to backread some other stuff before, October starts. Or if you're, like, I just want to see what's done before.
Yeah. Become a Kinktober historian. Yeah, for all that research. I love that. Okay, my loves, what are we working on? What are you up to? And where can people find you?
Well, I am working on Kinktober. As I said, I'm doing 31 fills again, and I am considering doing Flag as well. You'll probably, by the time it's out, I don't know, maybe beginning of October, you'll notice if I'm posting Flag as well or not. I am very much looking forward to WeCon, which is getting increasingly close at this point because it's almost happening. It's almost next month. So we're like 4-ish weeks out. I'll actually be giving a tiny workshop on how to write a drabble. If you want to come join in person, and you'll get a nice postcard as well to write your drabble on, which is going to be our massive selling point. I'm doing that with Draco, by the way, so we might get some unhinged 100-word things coming out there. So absolutely looking forward to that. I'm also very much looking forward to posting my Kinktober, by the way, just so it's all gone again. It always feels like a bit of a, why am I doing this again when I'm struggling through 31 fills? Yes, smut burnout is real, which is also why I really like the non-sexual kinks one. because sometimes you just don't want to. And the characters also don't want to. So there's that. And you can find me online as FP Woper, FPWOPER, everywhere, basically. If you type in that name and you will find a person, that's 99.9% me. Except on Instagram, if you want to follow me there. Not I do a lot with it, where I'm FUPWOPER, because I accidentally claimed my own name and then forgot my login information, and I can't retrieve that previous account. So that's how you can find me, where you can find me. I'm mostly on my own, by the way, Blue Sky and Discord. If you really do want to find me, that's where you can find me.
I am going to send me that info, because goodness knows that I'm all about taking weird random trips just for random reasons. And you never know if I can get...
I will simply send you a link tree, because I have got one. I always forget, by the way, you can also find me as a published author if you want kinky stuff or just erotica with characters you might vaguely recognize if you're part of a specific book fandom or if you're a fan of Flag, because I have written a few explicit fics for them that feature original characters that are definitely based on some people that we know. And you can find that via Duck Prince Press. I will just put in a link tree at this point, because that's also where you can find me and my writing.
Well, hopefully by the time you're listening to this, I've posted something for Kinktober by now. And I'm trying to do some weird stuff. Weird for me anyway. Like some short coffee fun with Steve Whittle, and
it's very good.
And Vlad and Viago from What We Do in the Shadows. So you little different things. Yeah, so and then of course I've got my podfics, and so that's all under Cheesecake 3, run Archive of Our Own, and I try to post things on Blue Sky as well, which is mystictrashmoon, and that's
excellent. Very much looking forward to that. Do more Short Poppies, people. Give me Short Poppies content. I love it so much. As for me, I'm still working on more podfics to put up for you, getting better at them and faster. So hopefully I'll be able to put out more of them. Other than that, you can find me in the meta world under Belle Saltenbank. I'll put everything on the show notes so you can see how you spell that. I'm on Tumblr and Blue Sky and all the rest basically of things, including AO3 as Peerless and the letter N, Wicked, one word. You can also find me, all my podfics so far under WhiskyTangoForeigner in Spotify. That's what that service is called. And of course, you can find this podcast under Our Flag Means Fanfiction across the socials. We post, come and comment, talk to us. We also, of course, are everywhere you get your podcast. Rate us, make comments. And if you want to talk to us more, you can write ourflagmeansfanfiction@gmail.com. If you want to record an episode, you want to be part of this, you have ideas, anything like that, please. We are welcoming, and we want to hear your voice. We want to know about you. Come join the shenanigans. It's a lot of fun. Until next time, my loves, my darlings, my kinksters, do creations, be cringe, commit crime, and of course, get kinky. Woohoo!